I did not plan the day I met you. It arrived as softly as sunlight resting on an open window, as if the world tilted slightly just to guide our eyes together. It was not loud or fated in some grand orchestration, but quiet, almost hesitant, like the hush before a confession. There were no trumpets, no choirs, only the silent thrill that sparked the moment our fingers brushed. In that glance, that single instant that blurred 1,000 others, I felt something new, a weightless kind of gravity that held me fast and yet set me free. You spoke, and your voice folded into my thoughts like a melody long forgotten but instantly familiar. It was not love at first sight, not exactly, but the beginning of a song that would write itself slowly into my soul. You smiled, and suddenly the world made sense again, not in logic or reason, but in the spaces where dreams live. I didn't fall for you, I rose, and in that rising, I found a part of myself I had never known was missing, waiting only for your light to bring it to bloom. Each moment after has been a quiet revolution, the steady turning of my heart toward you. I don't know when it became more than a fleeting affection. Perhaps it was the way you listened when the world was too loud for my own voice to rise above the din, or the gentleness in your gaze, when I had nothing left to offer but silence. You see me, not just the smiles and the bravado, but the shadows that linger when the sun goes down, and still, you stay. You never try to fix or mold me into some ideal. You hold me as I am, fractured, brilliant, scared, alive. And somehow in your presence the pieces begin to feel whole again. Love with you is not a firework or a whirlwind. It is the candle that never burns out, the flame that dances softly even when storms rage outside. I have learned to breathe in your rhythm, to speak in your language of touch, of stillness, of understanding that needs no explanation. You are the poem I never dared to write, the truth I always hoped was real. Some say love is a battlefield, but with you it feels like peace. Not the absence of conflict, but the presence of grace. A soft place to land when the world grows hard. You wrap your arms around me and I am no longer afraid, not of failure, not of the dark, not of the echo of all I thought I'd lost. There's a quiet courage in how you love, not demanding, never diminishing. You add to me, you don't take. With you I am more than I was, and yet nothing has been taken from me. And isn't that the essence of it all? Love that multiplies, that nurtures, that plants gardens in hearts long thought barren. I have seen you cry, I have watched you laugh. I have traced constellations in your freckles and memorized the language of your sighs. You are both the silence and the song, the question and the answer. There is nothing performative in how you love. It is rooted, real. Real. The kind that doesn't flinch in winter but instead wraps us in wool and warmth and waits for spring. I want to be the shelter you run to when the rains come hard and sudden, the familiar coffee mug that fits just right in your hands. I want to be your morning ritual and your midnight thought, the prayer you whisper when words won't come. Because you have become all of that and more for me. I watch the way you touch the world, with gentleness, with fierce compassion, and I marvel at your spirit. You give so much without losing yourself, and in your giving you lift everyone around you, especially me. When I doubt you believe, when I falter you steady me. You are the steady drumbeat of hope in the background of my life, never demanding center stage but always there, keeping time, keeping me. You are not just part of my life, you are the lens through which I see it more clearly, more kindly. I want to grow old with you, not for the novelty, but for the comfort of knowing that even time will not unravel the threads we've woven together, strand by golden strand. There is poetry in your laughter, a rhythm that makes the days sing. When you're near, the world softens, even the chaos quiets. I find sanctuary in your gaze, 1,000 unspoken promises reflected in every glance. It's in the way you brush my hair from my eyes, the way your hands fit mine like a story finishing its final sentence. You are my punctuation, my emphasis, my meaning. When words fail me, I speak you. When time runs wild, I find you in the stillness. I could spend lifetimes rediscovering the nuances of your soul, the hidden places, the dreams you've shelved, the hopes you water even in drought. I want to be your mirror, not just in reflection but in truth. To remind you of your strength on days when you forget, to echo your laughter when your voice grows tired. You are not perfect, and I never asked you to be, but you are real. You are human and divine in the same breath. You make the ordinary sacred, the mundane magic. With you every day becomes a verse in this living poem. I remember the quiet moments the most, not the grand gestures, but the mornings tangled in sheets, your breath warm against my neck, the world outside still asleep. Or the way you wait for me to finish speaking, never rushing, always listening with your whole being. Love lives in those moments, in the ordinary, the everyday. It is easy to write poems about sunsets and stolen kisses, but the real poetry is in how you never forget to buy my favorite tea. How you remember the name of my childhood dog, how you check the locks twice because you know I get anxious. That is love, that is you. There is a kind of miracle in the way you remember all the little things, like breadcrumbs leading me back to safety again and again. And I follow not because I'm lost, but because your path feels like home. I don't want fireworks, I want forever. And with you I believe that's possible, not just the idea of it but the living, breathing, day-by-day reality of choosing each other over and over again. We've grown together in ways I never imagined, through laughter, through ache, through the slow unraveling of our defenses. Every scar has become a brushstroke in the portrait we're painting together, and I see beauty in every imperfect hue. You've taught me that vulnerability is not weakness, but the bravest kind of truth. With you, I've laid down my armor. I've let go of the fear that used to bind me. You make it safe to feel, to dream, to fail and try again. There's a rhythm to us now, not always perfect, but always real. I no longer measure love by how loud it is, but by how constant. And you are constant, even in silence, even in distance, even in the heavy days when everything feels too much. You show up, again and again, and that is a kind of love that doesn't always get celebrated in songs or movies, but it's the kind I'd choose a million times over. Because it lasts, because it grows, because it breathes even when the air gets thin. So here is my vow, not just to love you in words but in action, in patience, in partnership, to hold your hand through every storm, to dance with you in every sunbeam. I want to build a life with you, not of grandeur, but of meaning. A life where kindness is currency, and laughter is abundant, and forgiveness flows freely. A life where your dreams are as sacred to me as my own, where your joy becomes my joy. I want to write books with you, or simply read them side by side. I want to sit on porches when our hair turns gray and still see the fire in your eyes. I want all the seasons with you, springs bloom, summers blaze, autumns fade, winters hush. You are my home, my compass, my constant north. And if I have done nothing else right in this world, let this be the one thing I do with all of me, to love you. Always, unconditionally, not because I have to, but because I can't not. And if someday when the stars burn low and memory grows soft, if we forget the names of places or the exact shape of days long past, I hope we'll still know this, the feeling of waking up beside each other, the hush of shared glances, the weightless laughter that needed no reason. I hope we'll remember the way love settled into our bones, how it didn't shout, but spoke like scripture, how we were each other's prayer answered. We will not always be young, our bodies will shift, our pace will slow. But my love for you is not a fire that fades, it is a hearth that keeps us warm no matter how the winds howl. It is in the way I will still reach for your hand in the dark, the way I will still make your tea just the way you like it, the way I will still see you, not for who you were, but for who you are, always becoming, always beautiful.